AKB48, with the concept of idols you could meet through daily theater performances and a gimmick of an ever-growing amount of members, starting with around 20, they became a household name in Japan. I can't get much into AKB48 because Japanese copyright for anything that isn't anime is insane, but AKB48 is a Japanese girl group that, at their peak, were huge. You could not escape them in Japanese media. They broke album records, chart records, photo book records, created sister groups all over with similar success, etc., etc., all the other big famous pop act stuff. One of the things I loved the most about them was that they were always doing something unique and new. Like a huge general election where fans vote for members to appear in a single, a rock, paper, scissors tournament to determine single members, a visual novel dating game, a violent delinquent drama series.
自己紹介
mangas, and of course, an anime. And in classic AKB48 fashion, not a normal anime, but a Mecha-Idol anime. AKB0048, airing from April to July 2012, is a series directed by Shoji Kawamori, the head of Studio Satelight. It's also animated by Satelight, known for mecha animes like Macross and Aquarion, as well as some shoujos like Shugechara and Kami-chama Karen. They've dipped into the idol mecha crossover before, with Macross always having idols, and from my understanding becoming more idol focused over time. They also made Basquash, which I watched as a kid and it sucked, but the idol/basketball mecha players were great in it. So a pretty solid production team for idol mecha science fiction. While a lot of AKB48's non-music related projects became pretty successful and long-lasting, the anime did not at all. Why is that? Did the anime just suck? Maybe. Watch the rest of the video. Sometime in the distant future, Earth has been destroyed, resulting in people moving to other planets. Some planets are ruled by a totalitarian government called the Deep Galactic Trade Organization, or DGTO, who've banned entertainment completely. However, some planets are free from the ban, like Akibastar, where the idol group AKB0048 is. They're based off of the original AKB48, where girls can become understudies in the hopes that they eventually become successors of the original AKB48 members, meaning that they take on the name, personality, and look of the original member that they succeed. Being a member of AKB0048 also means fighting these bands through guerrilla concerts and protecting themselves and fans through combat. The anime follows a group of understudies' journey in becoming the next generation of AKB0048. When it comes to the writing of the show, it's both pretty good and also kind of bad. There's clearly very competent and interesting characters and ideas in this show. A main one is the relationship between Takamina and Kanata. Takahashi Minami V, or Takamina for short, finds out that Kanata is the next successor to the original Takahashi Minami. Kanata has been stuck as an understudy for years, but the only way she'll become a successor is if Takamina graduates from the group, aka leaves it. This causes problems for Takamina because she wants to be a successor and stay in the group, which at the same time directly conflicts with the member she is succeeding, who is known for being a selfless leader. She questions if she deserves a spot and what to do, which pushes her further from the position. Meanwhile, Kanata has no idea of this and looks up to her, which only grows the likelihood of her being a successor.
I know she must have been frustrated, but no matter how hurt she is, a member of 00 always puts the concert first. Takahashi Minami. The name Takamina is...
This isn't really well in the show and could have gone a lot of ways, and I didn't really know what they would do with it, and it was interesting to watch. There's also the Centernova. When a member reaches peak aura levels, I'm not joking, that's actually like what this is in the show. The Kirara, these magical beings that react to their souls, glow so bright that it causes the member to disappear. They don't know why this happens or what happens to the girls, and we meet Minagishi Minami V, who was almost a Centernova. She's against the Centernova and wants to stop it, going against the group manager Tsubasa, who's trying to bring it back, as the last Centernova was her friend Atsuko Maeda the 13th. That is so interesting and compelling, and these sort of big plot points are handled well overall within the story. For the most part. While this is all great, it isn't the focus really of the show, aside from some episodes, because these aren't even the main characters, which gets us into the main problem with the show, our main cast. We're first introduced to Nagisa, Yuka, and Orine. They live on Lancaster, a planet where entertainment has been completely banned. This is because idols are evil. They don't really explain why these 16-year-old girls deserve to have missiles thrown at them, but you know, strict regime, no joy government, something about communism being bad, blah 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 blah, those type of reasons. Once they pass auditions, we meet Sonata, Makoto, Suzuko, and Cherry, and once they're in the group, we meet Memori and Kanata rounding out the final group. That's 8 characters that serve as our main cast, and there's also all the successor members and more understudies. Do you sense the problems this might cause? Our main girl is Nagisa with Cherry behind her. Nagisa is a typical can't do anything protagonist. She sucks at everything, but she's just so hopeful and innocent.
I have missed you, I have missed you, I have missed you, yeah! I have missed you, I have missed you, I have missed you, yeah!
Meanwhile, we have our antithesis, Cherry, who's good at stuff but serious and cold, and she doesn't want to be your friend. But actually, secretly, she does want to be your friend. Yuka is hot-headed and always yelling at someone. Orina is the kind-hearted one who barely talks. Makoto is annoying. She's anxious and low in confidence and just complains and whines all the time.
Even if a single one of these pebbles hits this ship, we'll all die! My lifeline! Ah! I'm finished. I seem the most likely to fail out of this group. I'm totally gonna fail. I'm fine. You go on ahead. Huh? All my weight's gathered where I don't want it, and it's lacking where I need it! What was that?
Suzuko is the smart one, and Sonata is 11, so she's the cute little sister character who's also annoying sometimes and also questionable because why is an 11-year-old fighting the government in a huge death machine? Mimori is the fan service character and older sister sometimes.
It's nice to meet you. Oh my, I'm sorry.
It's nice to meet you.
While Kanata is the actual older sister and leader. So, if you couldn't tell from these descriptions, half these characters have no reason to exist. Sonata, Suzuko, and Makoto already have traits present in the main 4. High-pitched little sister type, the quiet one, and the annoying one who's never good enough. Like, just make Orina smart and more into AKB and she becomes Suzuko. They only need a few adjustments. Mimori is only here for fan service, so I don't really like her, because I hate fan service. And you can keep Kanata, because she has much more of a character. And Cherry can stay too, because she does serve a purpose to the overall plot, and there you go. You only need 5 of them. Having this many girls is detrimental because they can't develop them with the time given, making so almost all of them stay in these rigid boxes. There are interesting aspects to them that have potential to be expanded on, but they just don't do it because there's too many of them. Orina's whole family is dead, and she quit school and started working at a factory at like 14, and all we're gonna use her for is having a child hater who sends a Twitter level bomb threat.
Quit 00 by the next handshake event. If you don't, I'll blow up the venue and end your 00 life.
Don't push, everyone. Wait your turn.
This becomes a bigger problem because of the structure of most episodes. The A plot would be something idol life centered. A day off, training, photo shoot, etc. Usually in between is a somewhat B plot talking about the greater story or universe. That's where we see the Center Nova and Takamina and Kanata stuff. The problem is the B plot is usually pretty interesting, while the A plot, which we spend most of the time on, is not at all. Their idol activities plot-wise are usually slow and not interesting. What makes you care about this in typical idol animes is the characters, but these girls never get properly developed, so you don't really care about the A plot following them. If they cut down the amount of girls, the A plots could spend more time on their individual arcs and have you invested with them rather than giving you snippets for some and nothing for others. This is an overall issue with the pacing of the show though. You get good plot heavy episodes, but then these slower episodes are supposed to sort of be a break, but instead they feel like a drag from the actual plot because you're not really that invested. There's also a lot happening at once. There's Center Nova stuff, Succession, Sensei, the secret powerful being who makes their music and decides the future of the group, successor characters. It's just a lot. And they splice bits and pieces of each randomly, so you feel like you're missing out on the bigger idea and greater story behind this, and instead waste your time listening to Makoto. In the later half, the pacing does get much better with a lot less fluff and more consistent flow of the bigger plot points. They even managed to make some of the girls interesting. Oh no, Nagisa's dad is in prison since his daughter's in the #1 terrorist group, and Orina realizes the machines she made are being used against them. In episode 11, this has 13 episodes. It took them until the very end to figure this out. But while the overall pacing and plot and character progression can be weak, there's a lot of really good things that may appear small but help build the overall show. The plot and universe ideas that they do develop well, they develop really well, like I said. But the best part about this show has to be the concepts within the universe and the amazing amount of creativity. The fact that the group decisions are ultimately controlled by Sensei, who's treated like a god and they almost pray to in a temple, is so interesting. The fact that idol fans called Wota manga are actually assistants to AKB and are almost like their own squadron with mech styled in their favorite member is so tongue-in-cheek. A lot of their creativity also comes from references to the actual AKB48 group. Yeah, they mention handshake events and stuff, and the successor members are all like actual AKB48 members, but I'm talking about stuff like the character Mayu Watanabe Type 3 not being a girl but a robot, which is actually a reference to the real life Mayu being called an idol cyborg. And it doesn't matter if you knew the context or not, she's still cool. There's smaller references to the group too, like Takamina wearing the banana parka, the real Takamina wore, and this doesn't disrupt the show in any way. It's just a fun call out for fans who know. There's also creativity in a bunch of little ways like the mic sabers. Speaking of the mic sabers, I love the fact that the action involves the AKB girls. You don't get to see girl shows where they kick ass. The action scenes are coupled with song performances using actual AKB48 songs where they go from singing 1 second to beating guys up, and it just makes for badass scenes. Batman doesn't kill, but this girl group sure does. They clarified that they don't, but like this guy is totally dead. The songs are enjoyable too, they mesh well within the scenes, but in the English dubs, when songs are sung outside of a performance, they translate it to English, which
But tears are never truly in vain. Flowers only grow and blossom where there is rain. And I know that I'll be something
Stop it.
truly beautiful.
If you keep singing, I might.
Your wishes can come true, but that first step can only.
you know what, at least we're suffering through the dub together. The action spices up the poor pacing and boring A-plot, but also sometimes results in crazy thematic shifts. Like in episode 3 where they go through training.
It wasn't supposed to be like this.
Orine.
I wanted to become an idol. One, no matter what you do, that one only produces rust. I can't do it! Fail, fail, fail.
Another poor harvest.
Designs are pretty good too. I like all the main girls' designs, and they managed to make the successors pretty recognizable to their real life counterparts. A number of the stage outfits resemble actual AKB48 stage outfits, and the girls also wear multiple outfits throughout the show. And unexpectedly, this show has amazing backgrounds, like really detailed and intricate backgrounds that surprised me the first time I noticed. I like the different tech designs they came up with, and especially enjoyed the tech that AKB uses, like these flying saucers that come out from the stage and the flying stage itself. The girls go CGI when performing, which is interesting. It's not that good, to be honest, and anime CGI often isn't. They use nice lighting and angles whenever they do this to try to sort of mask it, and it's not the worst I've seen, but not the best either. There's also less fan service than I expected. It's still there because this is a female cast anime targeted for men, but it's probably less because of Mimori. When they had to meet their creep quota, they just have her do something. Also, there's a scene in the opening where all the girls are crying, and some of them are naked. I just wanted to mention that. I'd love to see more of this world, because despite the inconsistency story-wise, there's a lot of great stuff to work on, which is why it's great that we got a second season. AKB0048 Next Stage, airing from January to March 2013, kicks off from the last episode of season 1 with some time passing. I honestly don't have a lot to speak on this because it's pretty similar to season 1 in terms of good and bad. The main changes are that Cherry gets a larger storyline and becomes a much more compelling character due to her relationship with her father, who serves as the main villain for the season. There's not that much fan service with the queen, Mimori, actually being developed more as a character, sort of. She isn't made interesting or unique, but her character serves a great purpose to story progression, which was surprising, and she's no longer just a fan service cash machine. We see more of the successor members, which is great since they're all pretty interesting. The CGI also got a lot better, and they feature it a lot more, which I like because it makes the action scenes even more fun and dynamic compared to last season. But the rest of the girls are left at the same boring, underdeveloped place. Nagisa tries to get more of a personality by wanting to be a better idol and catch up to her rival Cherry, but she just says she wants to do this. A little progress is actually made because she's not good at anything except having hope. I'd say pacing overall is still better because we see bigger plot stuff more consistently than last season, but issues are still there. A big fault of this season though is their explanation of the universe. They didn't touch on the sci-fi elements much in the last season or really explain why things happen in their universe, and maybe they should have kept it that way. DES is the anti-entertainment military in the show. They do an attack on Akibuster, a planet free from entertainment bans, and just fully destroy it. That's it, I guess. Their only defense is AKB0048, so just a bunch of 16 20-year-olds are protecting this whole planet. Cherry's dad wants a Centronova because he wants to control the amount of power that generates when one's created, but like every Centronova ever disappears once it happens. What's the plan for him exactly? How are you gonna catch one? Also, the Centronova is heavily focused on this season and it just makes no sense. In one episode, all girls are trying to reach Centronova levels of aura in order to get back to Akibastar. They don't reach this state except for Nagisa and Cherry, which puts them on a literal train to the Centronova verse, which okay, kind of silly, but okay. They get off and see Yuko, who made it there earlier, and then they wake up back where they were. So you can just hop in and out of the Centronova verse at random? Well, apparently, yes, because you can be a Centronova, but to disappear as a Centronova is a different level, which is explained to us, but also not explained at all.
The most important condition. Surpass time and space. Become one with everything. The future and the past. Cease to be separate. I can't express it with words. You become one with everything. Existing everywhere and nowhere. In almost a terrifying trance-like state.
What are we saying right now? And also, how does Minagishi know any of this? She never made it this far. Where is all this info coming from when everyone else who has reached that level is gone? The show is filled with them going on spiels about dreams, fans love, courage, the power of singing, but like this is my limit. I feel like the writers themselves didn't have proper answers to these ideas, so they give us vague and confusing ones because they don't know either. I honestly wish less time was spent on explaining why this stuff happened and instead on just letting the story move on, like developing characters more or tying up loose ends from the last season like Sensei, and then the show ends after this and you're left with a lot of questions and wanting to see what happens to the girls. But don't worry, there's another. I'm just kidding. There's nothing after this. I'm sure this season was only made because it was already ordered during the first season anyways. It came out way too close to the first, and the first was not popular enough to warrant a second season being greenlit. And why is that? Well, I think the real problem was capturing people within the AKB48 fandom and outside of the fandom. When it comes to outside the fandom, idol animes aren't that popular except for little girl ones, and mecha animes don't really get popular aside from large franchises. The problem for the AKB48 fandom though is probably the lack of actual members. The main appeal of a lot of other AKB48 material is you get to see popular members doing stuff you wouldn't otherwise. But these characters are just for the anime. And while they are voiced by real members, most of them are pretty low to average tier in popularity and don't connect to the real members' personalities or anything. The most popular is Mayu, who voices Cherry, and yes, also has her own successor character. Other AKB48 media that centers on characters not a part of the real AKB48 only feature one or two characters, not a whole cast like this. And they also happen to focus on merchandising that needs continuous fan support to work. There was a prequel manga that started in 2011, so probably when the show was in production, and that ended a couple months after the second season. They also made another manga called AKB0048 Heart Gata Operation that follows Kanata for only 2 volumes and stopped a bit after the second season. There was physical trading cards and AKB0048 AR Card Das, I have no idea how to say that, a mobile game that unlocked performances and stages and outfits using the physical card game. And there was a more involved mobile game called AKB48 Galaxy Cinderella where the main point was also collecting cards. And this one did better and went on for a decent amount of time, but again, the main draw for this is connection to the actual members. That's why AKB48 Stage Fighter, the predecessor to this, did well and Galaxy Cinderella didn't live for long. So all this stuff died out probably because fans weren't that invested in it since it didn't really involve AKB48 members much. And when it does come to the AKB48 members, the girls that voiced the understudies formed the group No Name, but didn't promote much while the anime was airing or after the fact, which would have been their chance to turn them into a Love Live-esque voice actor girl group, which had been a thing already, but I guess with their plan being more towards merchandising, they didn't really think of that. Also, no members except Mayu had a solid fan base, so they couldn't go that far as a group without being pushed by the AKB name.
There was actually a show back in 2009 called Mendal Ikemen Idol,
where 3 AKB48 members play girls wanting to be idols who are forced into cross-dressing as male idols. This show sucks, was very short-lived, and not popular, but all the girls had solid fan bases to the point that the group formed from it outlived the show and continued to release music, even having a 10-year anniversary a couple years ago. But this was also due to extended promotions on AK Bingo, their variety show, and performances during AKB48 concerts, which No Name didn't get much of. And I also watched all this drama when I was like 11, and I think it traumatized me, and this is my only chance I ever get to speak about it. So lack of audience interest and poor marketing is what resulted in low popularity and success, making AKB0048 sort of lost to time, which is a shame because this is cool. We need more girl shows where they beat people up, not just idols singing during war. No, they have to be soldiers and put on trial and accused of being a terrorist group, which they then trick the government into bombing. Overall, if you're a fan of the idol genre, I still recommend recommend it. It's not terrible, it's just inconsistent, but there's definitely good and interesting stuff here that's worth it if you already feel invested. It's a great watch if you're a fan of this era of AKB48 or if you want to get into this era of the group. For mecha anime fans, there's not much worthwhile, to be honest. I wish the anime had a longer life or lived on more in people's consciousness, but now that I made a video on it, I can stop being hit with a shock whenever I remember the fact that I was so obsessed with this and I have nobody to share the hour-long lore about it with. Anyways, yay! You watched until the end of the video. Subscribe, comment, and like, and turn on notifications while I wait for Sensei to tell me when I am allowed to upload my next video.
But I felt the moment I couldn't continue being an ordinary girl anymore.